An athletic career is rarely a straight shot to the top.
Pitfalls are bound to happen, but as Chris Lopez tells us, no matter how many some face, they just keep pushing forward.
Steven Shareef just won his first professional fight. He is 1-0. Perfect. The path to grasp that single victory has been 3 years in the making and anything but perfect. It was filled with bumps, weird turns, and misfortune. A path that only a fighter could travel and not want to turn back.
It's literally blood that I had shed for this. And they say tears. There was times where I had cried because I lost a fight or I didn't have a good day in the gym. Or just I was feeling dejected, like this isn't for me. Sweat. I mean, the gallons of sweat that I put in.
Blood, sweat, and tears are a part of training, but so is starting young. Fighters today begin training around 10 years old and building valuable experience. The 24-year-old didn't start his training until 19.
Experience, like it builds up that muscle memory where you just do things, you don't even have to think about it. Like you get into a certain situation and you get out of it without even having to think.
The pressure is on a little bit more for me because, I don't have those years of experience. But I like it. I like the pressure.
Starting young allows a fighter to make mistakes and ask questions. The critical question for every young fighter is, who should I train with? Shareef's answer to that question was a trainer named Joe Linehauser. The two produced suboptimal results, in Shareef losing 4 of his first 7 fights.
Initially, it felt like a really good step in my career. I just started to see some things like that he wasn't doing, or that I wasn't gaining from our sessions together.
A loss in the championship fight at the Golden Gloves pushed Shareef to look elsewhere. What was found was a former heavyweight contender, Obed Sullivan, who himself had ups and downs in his pro career.
I looked at Obed like, he was a former professional fighter, so I was like, he must know exactly what he's doing.
Mixed results followed. Shareef only fought 2 times under Sullivan's tutelage. Things ended violently with Shareef being knocked out in the final round of the championship fight, where he was dominating. A drastic change needed to be made.
There's levels, and Joe was one level, Obed was another level. Now I'm on to the next level.
An amateur career with mixed results would push most fighters out of the sport completely. Despite his misfortune, Shareef chose to root himself deeper within the sport by moving to one of the epicenters, Los Angeles, in hopes to turn professional, an unadvisable move to most, but the absolute best option for Shareef.
I was like, if there's any way that I'm going to make it to where I want to be, if I want to know for sure, that this is for me, I have to go to where the best train.
Where the best train is at Wildcard Boxing Gym. There, Shareef would meet a savvy world champion coach named Eric Brown.
Didn't know if he had it in him to become a great fighter, but he proved me wrong.
A continuous regimen of training, sleep, diet, and a staunch mindset that transformed a soft-spoken kid into a real-deal pugilist. Things were finally beginning to take shape for Shareef, and hope for a pro debut was in sight. And then, COVID-19 happened.
It's stressful, it's anxious, you're anxious, you're nervous, you're stressed out about the future.
The foreseeable future entailed no gyms, no sparring, no training. However, Shareef received help from his uncle to stay ready for when the pro ranks would eventually call his name.
He did his best to try to hold the miss for me, to try to run with me and things like that. And we would watch boxing film. If you can't do one thing, there's something else that you can work on.
The call came in September. Shareef traveled down south to Mexico and earned a unanimous decision victory on November 14th. He's 1-0. Perfect. And nothing else matters.
My puzzle's, still being put together. I'm in the beginning. But just that beginning been tough. But, man, it's been all worth it, man, because the end result is all that matters.
Without a doubt, there's more ups and downs headed Shareef's way, just like there is for all of us. If there's one takeaway from Shareef's journey so far, it is that you were never out of the fight. Chris Lopez, Cronkite Sports Report.
Steven Shareef is currently looking to book another fight for early next year.